Hello, everybody. I'm a retired blackout artist. My name is Greg. I'm also an alcoholic. I'm getting crap because I wrote some things down. If you knew what it was like to be in this brain, you'd understand.
Don't be afraid of this thing.
Thank you.
I'm not gonna bite you.
I have a sponsor. My sobriety date is April 23rd, 2018. I attempt to sponsor others, but I fail miserably often. My story is one that almost doesn't sound real, and while I wish parts of it weren't, it solidifies the insanity of alcoholism and addiction and how pathetic the extremes we're willing to go to continue the stupidity. Excuse me. I grew up in this town. I graduated in 2001 with several people that are in this room. It's also the town that I did my dirt in. I'm proof that running from your problems isn't it isn't the answer. Because if anything, if any of you are anything like me, you can find trouble wherever you're looking. I grew up middle class, loving parents, great family. There's no history of alcoholics or addicts in my family. I'm the black sheep. There was no reason for me to go the route that I did. I don't come from a traumatic childhood or dysfunctional upbringing. I went left. I was simply I'm someone that was never comfortable in my own skin, and until substance was introduced. So I grew up a ball player. I played baseball. Baseball is my life. It afforded me the opportunity to travel and experience life many don't get a chance to. I had a blast, and before I knew it, it was over. The real world came knocking, and it knocked hard. I bounced from one job to another, and I did so for years. The party was over, but I hadn't got the message or the email. Getting loaded continued to be a priority, and the disease we suffer from progressed. Somehow during this process of having every job under the sun and making certain not 1 minute of it was sober, I managed to woo a girl that I had known since elementary school, and we crossed paths again later in life at a bar. It was magical. In true alcoholic fashion, we rushed into things, moved faster than logical adults do, and I feel it's necessary to mention that my spirit animal identifies as Charlie Sheen. I have one speed, and that's go. We moved in together, planned a wedding a year later. Happily ever after was on its way, or so I thought. If that poor girl only knew the destruction that awaited her, she would have run and never looked back. Instead, I managed to drag her into the depths of hell and ruin her life. For 5 years, I lied, manipulated, drained every ounce of happiness imaginable. At that time, she was a nurse, and I operated heavy machinery. One day, I had an accident at work where a loader ran over my arm, and it swelled up to the size of my leg. Normal people have an accident like that. They call an ambulance, and or they do workers' comp. Not me. You know what happens when you have a work-related injury? They drug test you. That's not an option. So we'll just keep quiet and it'll all go away. I finished the work day, I went home. I remember walking in the door, and my wife looks at me, she looks at my arm, expresses how intelligent I am, and instructs me to get in the car. We get to the hospital where I'd stay for the next 36 hours, 6 hours shy of needing my arm amputated. It's called compartment syndrome. Apparently, when 26,000 pounds crushes your extremities and the blood vessels burst, there's nowhere for the blood to go, so it blocks circulation. Of course, none of this registers as glaring alcoholic behavior because I'm on a morphine drip. My problems are minimal, unlike my arm. This is the beginning of the end of our marriage. The reality of who I am is no longer something I can hide from her. We end up separated shortly after, and I move back in with my parents. For the next 6 months, it became glaringly evident why being married or even associated with me at this point is torture. The impending divorce is in the process, as is the pregnancy of my firstborn, unbeknownst to me. About 7 months into her pregnancy, she informs me, I want nothing to do with you, but I thought you should know I'm carrying your child. The divorce finalizes shortly after my daughter was born on June 27th. I had to call the hospital to find out if my ex-wife was a patient. How much do you have to hate somebody to not tell you that, hey, your child's being born? But that was who I was. That's what I did. I wasn't welcome in the delivery room. For the next year, the ability to see or be a part of the kid's life was restricted to an hour a couple times a week in the house that I'd been kicked out of. She filed what's known as an emergency injunction to remove any rights. As a parent, I might have that to protect the little girl. Maybe some of you can relate. I don't typically learn things the easy way. I have to suffer genuine pain for things to register, and even then I don't sometimes. Turns out being a parent is a privilege and not a right. Sorry, lost my spot. So the judge that presided over our case made it very clear that if you want parenting privileges, you have to complete drug and alcohol counseling, random drug testing, weekly therapy sessions, and 90 meetings in 90 days. Right around this time, my family, some of which is here tonight, they organized one of those interventions. It was really great. If any of you are unfamiliar with what that entails, it's a collective audience of loved ones that are all in agreement that you suck at life and we're done watching it. Ultimatums were made, demands were stated clearly. So being the cooperative, reasonable adult that I'm not, I renegotiate the terms. You guys want me to go get help? Fine. I will, but we're going to do so on my terms. And this damn iPad. There we go. Okay, I'll go to rehab, but I'm not going sober. So you clowns pool some of your money together. I'll go get what I need, and I'll go. And they did. And you know it's bad when they're just like, give him what he needs to get him the hell out of here. And so they did, and so off I went. I went to treatment. I stayed for what felt like an eternity. Fun fact, alcoholics exaggerate, and we're dramatic. So if you're new and asking yourself if you have any of these stellar qualities, stop, because we're also liars. We don't want to overload you with too much information too quick. I was in there for a little over a month. And so began my journey in AA. Not by choice, of course, court appointed. I hated all of you. I'd sold myself on prison being a better deal than you smiling, grateful nut jobs. I isolated myself, stayed for the hour, and got my paper signed. And to repeat, 90 meetings in 90 days is exactly that. Still living with my parents, I had to get a job because child support does not care that I'm an alcoholic. And I go back to being an operator running machines. I go to work, then to a meeting, back to mom's, eat, shower, sleep, repeat. Over and over and over again. I have to give my paycheck to my mommy because I can't be trusted with money. After 2 weeks of woe is me, my life sucks crap, Sean, one of my buddies that's not here tonight, he invites me out to go to dinner with you guys. You guys fellowship after sometimes. And if any of you guys remember what early sobriety looks like, you're broke. You don't have money to go out to dinner. And they know this, right? But they're genuinely, they know what they're doing. And so you owe everyone and your brother money, who my brother's here and I think I still owe him money. Going out to eat isn't in the cards, but these guys know that, and they're baiting you. Don't do it. Years later, after the wreckage of your past is cleaned up, they ask you to come speak about how you did it. But back to my story, I was hungry and broke, and decided, screw it, he's buying, why not? I started to relate to some of the people at dinner. I think I might have even laughed or enjoyed myself in their company. Before I knew it, my attitude started to shift from I have to go to a meeting to I get to. That's a shift in the way that you approach life. Next thing I know, I'm getting a sponsor and I'm going through step work. Halfway through my 90 meetings in 90 days, I'm hanging out with these clowns. The same clowns I couldn't stand. I'm attending birthday parties and we're doing it sober. Like, what? Another strange thing, so if you show up to work on time and you do it consistently and you do your job, apparently sometimes they pay you more. That's an unfamiliar concept to someone like me. 90 meetings came and went, and I'm no longer appointed to go. And I keep coming because, at this point, these people that I couldn't stand, they're my friends. And, I like the way that I feel around them, and I like some of the changes that are happening in my life. And I continue to surround myself with these people that live in the solution. There's a therapeutic process involved with writing pen to paper, finding out the truth and the accountability in your side of things. And I didn't realize that until I got into, the step work with my sponsor. So before I know it, the relationships with that family that wanted rid of me, it began to heal, but through actions, not words. The first year of sobriety brings a new custody arrangement with my daughter, who I had been incapable of being with unsupervised. I'm financially stable, and I'm able to get a place of my own. My life continues to get better, and it's solely because of the program of AA. I brought a water. Excuse me. Is it hot in here? I wrote that stuff down because I panicked when they said that I couldn't use profanity or talk about my actual story. And that was my attempt at respecting that the best of my ability. So now I'll speak from whatever comes off the top of my dome. But I owe everything that I have today to the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. The relationships that I have through this thing, I thought I knew what friends were before I came here. And the reality is my concept of exactly that was so skewed. But these are people that, you know, I don't live a life today that I need to like call in an emergency. I live a very boring, stable life today, and I'm good with that. But in the event that I needed something immediately, I know a lot of people that would be there without question and not expect a single thing in return. And that is invaluable. Separate from all of the miracles and gifts that I've been given in this thing, you know, being an alcoholic is a superpower. And that sounds stupid, but it's so true. When you embrace the reality of alcoholics turn out to be some of the best employees, some of the best parents, some of the best, apply it to whatever you want. I got a buddy of mine in the room right now. We talk about, you know, because he's a normie. He's not one of us. So he doesn't necessarily understand, you know, a lot of, not just what this program's about, but we talk about how, you know, this program can be applied to so much more in life. And, you know, learning how to be an adult in Alcoholics Anonymous, you know, I work the steps, I work the program. I've learned how to deal with life on life's terms instead of using substance or alcohol to cope with it. But it's about being a better version of myself. I'm a better human being because of this program. And you know, he asked me if I'm always going to, you know, be a member of AA. And for 7.5 years, I have been, because I'm scared if I stop coming, I know what ends up happening. So I'm not willing to give up what I have been so blessed to receive. And you know, a lot of people, they like to give us credit, and you know, we get a little bit of it. But I didn't in the beginning. You know, I had a problem with the whole God concept, and I understand now. I understand that submitting to something bigger than me is the reason why I've been able to have a better life today. And I can't imagine a life that doesn't involve the sober clowns that I surround myself with, because they're irreplaceable. Just like, you know, this program and what it's done for me. So if you're new and you're on the fence about whether or not, you know, this is something that you want to get involved with, I didn't want it. I wanted no part of this. And but I fired myself from making any decisions in the first year, and it turns out that was a pretty good idea, because my thoughts and my thinking lead me to treatment facilities and or waiting in a parking lot for somebody to show up with something. So the life I have today, you know, fast forward, my daughter's now 9. She was a little over a year when I first got sober, And I get her every single Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I have for 7.5 years. And I get goosebumps every time I say that, because I can remember when that was not the case. And I also have a 5-year-old son who is, he's going to be the death of me, but he is fun to watch. And that family that I tore apart. My drinking and using did a number to people that I don't deserve. And but today, that I call them my army, I feel bad for anybody that has to stand up against my army, because they have my back 100%, and I am so incredibly grateful for them. And I'm so, not everybody is able to repair the relationships, the turmoil that we create, and the problems that occur when we're active in our use. Not every story turns out like mine, but I am one of the lucky ones, and I am proof that submitting to a higher power, a God of your understanding, it can change your life if you take the suggestions. That's the other thing. In closing, alcoholics, we're not the kind of people that can be told what to do, right? You tell us what to do, and I'm naturally wired to use language that I was instructed not to use. So, I'm so glad, so grateful that I heard the message of taking suggestions. That's one of the best approaches about Alcoholics Anonymous. You guys can go out, and you're not sure you're an alcoholic, go out and safely use. Let us know how it works out. The indifference as to whether or not you want to stay sober, whatever. Like, that's the approach that an idiot like me needs for this to register. Not, you need to stop. That doesn't work with people like me. So anyways, I'm rambling at this point. Alcoholics Anonymous is blessed me in ways I don't deserve, but I'm going to keep showing up because I love my life today. It's not perfect, but it's worth living, and that's more than I can say 7.5 years ago. So thank you for letting me share.